God, I'm so excited for this. I'm excited for all of them, but this, oh, my favorite intro song. Yeah, here we go. Garage band at the best. Yeah! That never gets old. Never gets old. Thank you so much, Wyatt. Oh my gosh. What a difference a year makes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to bring it right in. My guest, I just love this guy to death. He's one of my favorites in the whole world. He does everything. Commentator, superstar commentator for MotoGP. The guy has boy band good looks. He's basically the Cristiano Ronaldo of MotoGP commentators. And now he's an accomplished children's author. And I honestly, that gets me in the feels because you're going to be immortalizing your kids' eyes, which I think is the greatest. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Steve Day. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
E.T., how are you? It's so good to see you. Hey, mate, that is an intro and a half. I don't even think on my wedding day I had an intro like that. And I wish I had the money of Cristiano Ronaldo. And
But you got it.
I am not yet an accomplished author, but let's see how that goes. But no, it's really good to see you. How are you?
Dude, I'm great, and it's all about you. And you know what's funny? I was looking back it was a year ago this week where you moved into your brand new house. It was a year ago this week.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of the epidemic, and it was in the pandemic, and we were all kind of going through that little depression because there was no MotoGP. You know, you guys were getting ready to start back up, and it was like, and we didn't know where things were going. You had just moved in, and you had that little apprehension in your voice, I could tell. And now look at us, man. And I mean, the difference a year makes. Brand new house. GP's going. He's better than ever. And like I said, the author of the book is called That Leopard is So Rude. I mean, honestly, I give you credit for that. Tell the people, how did that come about?
Oh my, it's a long story.
It's your show, man. Go ahead. It's your show. I want to hear it.
Actually, when I was a kid, I always loved children's picture books. And I kind of forgot that I liked them because obviously you become an adult. Yeah. And then when I had my little boy, Charlie, and we started reading him books and he really loved rhyming books, I was like, oh my God, I remember this. And I was just like, do you know what? I really want to write one. I really want to write one. And I thought, this is ridiculous because you can't just start something and it just, become a reality. I think when I was a kid at school, I think I'd written in some school report somewhere that I really wanted to be a children's author, or I wanted to be an author of a book or something like that. And so when I first started, it was just a few notes, and it was pre-lockdown, the first lockdown. So we're talking probably end of 2019 when I started jotting down a few notes just as an idea. So we didn't even have any idea that lockdown was going to happen. And then I was like, it's only going to be a children's picture book. How hard can it be? Which was because it turns out it's actually quite hard to do, even though. And so I put it to one side for a little while, and then lockdown hit us. And then I started looking into it a little bit deeper and did some research and spoke to some other children's authors and really worked hard to find out, what's the best way around doing it. And but I just kept on running out of ideas, and it was just so strange. I don't know what happened. I bought this notebook, put it beside my bedside table, and I just decided that when I wake up and I've got an idea, I'm just going to go, wham, wham, here we go. This is going to go on. And but unfortunately, none of the ideas kind of made up for anything for a book. And I really wanted to do something with animals because I always loved going to a zoo as a kid. I love animals. My little boy, Charlie, absolutely adores animals. Yeah. So I wanted to do something, but I wanted to do something with morals. Something that was different, something that might be able to help kids grow up and understand things that maybe we didn't understand when we were kids.
Oh, like what? Like for instance, like what?
So, for example, without giving too much away in the book, I noticed when I was a kid, my mum lost her mum, and she was grieving, and so was my dad. And I never really understood what was going on, because I was so young that it was just kind of one of those things where I was just like, I've lost my nan. But I was so young that I didn't really feel the emotion of it. And I didn't really understand why people were acting differently because of grief. And I've seen, unfortunately, from my wife's dad who passed away, the way that people are outside with grief isn't necessarily who they are. And they can sometimes portray this different character. And I think that we can all relate to feeling down at some point, and every now and again you just need this lending ear, someone just to come and go, hey, are you okay? And it's, I don't want to give too much away of the book, but it was almost like, let's try and see if we can get kids to understand that sometimes the portrayal of what you are from the outside might not actually be who that person is, because they've got something else going on in their life.
Wow, that's deep, man. I mean, that's great, and that's
because
deep.
we don't know what's going on.
You never did.
I know it's deep, but I just think that, you know, it can relate to so many different things, where we all can be having bad days and we put on this fake smile from time to time, or we can actually be, or, you know, we could be, I don't know, feeling unbelievable grief inside and come across as angry, or we might be having a bad day. We might have annoyed someone on that day, and then you're like, oh God, if only they knew what was going on. And so that was the kind of thing that I wanted to do. That was the route that I wanted to kind of go down, but make it into a children's book so it was relatable and understandable. That was the main aim.
God, that's beautiful. I mean, honestly, man, that's beautiful. I really love that, and it's so in tune with what's going on now, because more awareness is on mental health, which I think is great. I mean, that's long overdue. You know what I mean? And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, and it's like, and everybody grieves different, or when something's going on different. I mean, because me personally, I shut down in a different way. Like, I act like it doesn't happen, and I'll go about my business, and I act like it doesn't happen. It's a weird thing, but so everybody does it different. But I think that's beautiful, and how you process it as a kid also is different. You know, but that also, what happens in your childhood, it goes into your adult. If it's not checked when you're a child, it goes into your adulthood, and it affects your relationships also.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. I think it's really, really important, because when I was a kid, I read lots of children's picture books that did have a meaning that maybe I didn't understand when I was a kid. But as I slowly grew up, I was seeing a different meaning to the story. But back when I was a kid, so we're talking like, when I'm talking about reading picture books, we're talking 32, 33 years ago. There were no books that were kind of teaching kids about, maybe there are some uglier sides of life that we might need to recognize, but not kind of tackling it in such a dark way. You know, it's a good, fun book, and it's a heartwarming book. Mm-hmm. So I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea by any means. But I just think that there are so many issues that need to be tackled for kids, because we need to start from that generation upwards to understand so many different things, whether it's the way people are, whether it's mental health, whether it's equality, whether it's, and we need to start from the kids, because it's the only way that the world will change. But if you can do it in a way that is imaginative and is good fun as well, so that the book is engaging, then you know, it has to be a positive thing.
That, man, honestly, that is so correct. I love that from ground zero. The only thing about that had me perplexed is that you said you probably last read a picture book 33 years ago. I thought you were like 21, 22. I mean, you don't age. I mean, look at you. I mean, I'm looking at you like you look like you just broke up with. You look like, you know what you look like, honestly? You look like you're going through your solo album, and you're like, I'm interviewing you about your new solo album because you broke up with your boy band. That's what you look like. Like, you know, like, yeah, I like the guys, but I've got to do my own thing. You know, that's what you look like. You're like that lost member from Oasis, you know, that he's like doing his own thing, and you're like, well, I like Liam and Gallagher, but I just got to do my own thing, Mike. That's what it looks like.
Well, what we can see is that I've got a reflection coming in at the moment, because we've actually got some rare sun in England, so I'm sunburned. Maybe the sun is making me look a little younger. I don't know, but
no, you just have it.
I know what
you just have it.
I know what you're doing. perfectly well how old I am. You know, I'm not 21. I am. I'm 37 and I don't use any moisturizer.
No moisturizer at all. You were just blessed by the Lord. Wow, you were just a blessed human being. Great hair, the dream job, a wonderful family, no moisturizer, and you look like you're 21 if you're a year. Incredible. I mean, honestly, it's like, seriously, you're like, I don't know how much perfect you can get. You write a children's book, you're a family man. That makes women go, oh my God. I mean, seriously, you might be on the cover of People magazine as the most sexiest man alive.
My phone. No, I've not got any messages. So no. You think that? Only you think that? Nah, come on.
No,
you're making me blush.
No,
or is it the?
But the great thing about you is, and back to the seriousness of it all, is that it's so true. And I say that is that, like, I think about the problems I deal with now because they weren't addressed when I was a kid, and I could easily brush it off to, like, they just didn't talk about that when I was a kid or whatever. And I live. My roommate has a kid, and I think of him because I'm thinking about ordering this book for him. Like, is there an age group that it particularly targets?
I would say that you could probably start reading it to kids that are 2 years old because it's rhyming. And I've noticed, certainly with my little boy, he's 2.5, that anything that rhymes, he just loves. And if the pictures are good enough, he's into it. So he doesn't understand the meaning of the book, but I do genuinely believe that this book could probably go right up to 6 or 7 years old. And then after that, maybe you're probably looking at something a little bit more intellectual and a little bit deeper to kind of get on board. But I think it varies so much because kids these days, you know, you can meet, they're all so different. You can meet a 5-year-old kid who's way ahead of his or her time, and you can meet, you know, a 6 or 7-year-old who might see the meaning of it in a different way. So I think we're probably looking at 2 to 6, 7, something like that. That's what it is now.
And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to go to your link, and I'm going to buy this for my roommate's kid. I mean, he loves books. He loves books, and he loves animals. And the way you described what it's about, it's right up his alley. It really is. You know, because the way we live, he doesn't have any. His friend that he plays with in his in our neighborhood, his friend just moved away, and I feel so bad. That was his buddy, and he moved, so he has nobody really to play with. And we went to the pool yesterday, and he's got his he went to the pool yesterday, and he's got his and you could tell he was kind of shy when he first walked in, and I introduced him to some kids, and they went swimming, which was great. So this book is right up his alley, man. And like I said, he loves animals. He's a little bit past the dinosaur stage, but for two birthdays in a row, we've gotten him like snakes to come over to the house, snakes and lizards and alligators, and he held them in his hands. So I'm definitely buying this book. I'm not just saying it. I'm definitely gonna get this book for him. I think he's gonna love it. Now, how'd you come out with the characters for the animals? How'd you happen to pick the animals specifically?
The reason I picked the leopard to be the lead character was because when you read the story, you kind of I'm really trying to not give this away. Basically, the whole idea is, and the premise of it is that leopard can't change his spots. That's kind of the saying, and that's how it goes. When the reality is that people do change, but they don't need to change their spots. That's basically the premise of it.
That's beautiful. Oh, man, I love it, dude. I'm so, like, okay, now how did you sell that idea to somebody, though? I mean, did you know who to go to?
Well, actually, to be honest, the idea fluctuated a few times because initially I was going to have the leopards, like, it was going to be like, oh, the leopard can't change his spots, and then the leopard spots do change. And once I got involved, a publisher called Gracie from MissWritePublishing.com, there's my little plug. She came on board and said, maybe we could play around with the idea of the leopard not changing its spots. And I was like, oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And she really helped with that. And it was just, I don't know, it just came from I don't know what it is about. I have some sort of weird imagination. I don't even know where the book came from. I could honestly not even tell you where it's not been like some sort of idea that I've just had in the drawer for years and years and years, and I've always wanted to write it. It sort of just came, and I was just like, I like it. like this. I honestly cannot even remember where the idea of the book came from or how it came about. But she's got some great books. She's an award-winning author herself, and so she's got some great books on that website as well. And she's got another author who actually doesn't live too far away from me, who's written a book, and his own son illustrates the book, which is such a cool idea. And so on that website, there's like all of the range of books from that. But she just saw the book and said, I really like it. I mean, this isn't just like some sort of fairy tale story, as you well know. Like when I initially started the book, I put it out there and it was rejected tons of times by a lot of people. I had to make changes to it and I was almost ready to give up. And luckily for me, in the end, Gracie, who was involved, saw it and just saw the morals in it and said, like, I think we can really do something with this. And so, yeah, this is where we're at. I've already finished my second one, which I say I've finished it. It needs a few bits and bobs done, but that halfway through finishing this one, an idea came to me about another. So I've already got another in the pipeline as well. But I just want to see how this goes first. So I'm not saying that I'm going to be some sort of star children's author. I just really hope that, for me, the dream was also like to be able to read a children's book to my son that I've written is just goodness, just such a magic. It'll be such a magical feeling. And the day I see anyone else reading a story I've written to their kids will just mean so much to me, more than any money that you earn out of a book. It would be so magical if that's, just to see photos of kids reading the book and to know maybe one day you might just make the tiniest difference to a kid's life or something like that along the way would be so cool.
I'm talking about, I wanted to go back to when you said you thought about giving up, because that's the point to me in everything in life. That's where how do you describe it? Because we've all gone through, you put something together and you hope it works. And it's rejection. What made you not go, you know what? Okay, forget about it. I'm done. Like, what made you go, I got something here, or headstrong enough to where you got the yes you were looking for? Because I think we've all been rejected. I mean, you get beat down for so long. Sometimes you go, you could have easily just given up. And what made you keep going?
I guess from which comes back to kind of the commentary side of things, really. When I first started commentating and I wanted to get into the job, I just didn't stop. I didn't stop, and I just learned to grow thick skin on not being affected by rejection, and just continually plaguing people until we got somewhere and seeing what happened. And because I was almost at the point of like where it nearly didn't happen for me in commentary, and then I just didn't stop. I thought, well, I'm going to do the same with the book. I mean, it's just, we'll just carry on and we'll just see what happens. It would have been a little bit easier on this occasion to give up, given that I've already got, like, obviously a lot of interest in bike racing and I've got a job in commentary. It would have been a lot easier, I think, on this occasion to give up. But I just always kept on thinking to myself, I know that this is something that when I was a kid, I was really, really interested in. And I know that if I don't get this done, I will always ask the question of what would have happened maybe if I could have got a book out? Like, could we have made a difference? Could we have managed to get something sorted in that way? And so I just thought, I'll just keep on going. I'll keep going. And I was just getting email after email after email saying, no. And then obviously some you just don't get any emails back from at all. I guess it's just, you know what it's like. It's a bit like everything. You just have, it's life. You have to make the decision as to whether or not you just go, okay, enough is enough. or for me, it was just like, I'm not accepting it. I'm just not going to accept.
That's beautiful.
That.
Yeah.
I just, I'm going to keep going because even if I have to pay for this book to be made and self-publish it myself, I'll go that route as a last resort, just because I want to try and do this. But I don't want to look back and go, I'm really upset I gave up.
Yes. At the end, you never know when the final, it's going to be over. And I've always said, I always want at the very end, I just want enough time, if I can, just enough time that when that Grim Reaper puts his hand on my shoulder, like a hockey coach telling the goon to go out there and beat somebody up, I go, yeah, okay. Like, I did everything I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about, man. It's just about just persevering when you believe in yourself. And that's what it's about, basically. Believing in yourself enough to know and being headstrong, go, no, I got some here. This is gonna do. And if I gotta do it, like I said, if I gotta do it myself, damn it, this is getting done. And that's what I love about it. But the most important thing about it is, does Charlie think it's a good book? Did you read it to him and he went, I've heard better? I mean, what was his reaction to it? Did he go, you know what, Dad, it's okay, but it's no Barney?
He's oh, that's funny. He's obviously only 2.5 years old, yeah. So he can't. Luckily for me, he can't give me a review, but can't give me a scathing review either. I read out because obviously at this particular time when I read it to him, because the book is ready for pre-order, but it's not in people's hands yet. And so I've read him the book, and there's kind of like this go-to tone to it, and he enjoyed it.
Good.
And I'm not just saying that because he's my.
Yeah. I mean, whatever, man.
But
yeah, okay.
To be honest, he enjoys it. If no one else does, at least I know I've tried.
Yeah.
But my son will enjoy that book.
Well, would it hurt your feelings if you came home one day and he was like your book was to the side and he was like reading like the Lewis Hamilton story, like, now this is a good book, and you're like, really, son? I mean, would it hurt your heart if you heard him talking to his friends like, yeah, Dad did this book and it was okay, but this book right here, I mean, would it hurt your feelings if it's something like that happened?
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? That like, if when he gets older, if this isn't a success, is if he gets older and he's like, yeah, my dad wrote a book once, but it was rubbish. Who knows? No, I mean, like, I hate arrogance, so I don't want to come across as that. I think there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think that I'm not even quite at the point of confidence. I'm really happy with the book. Overjoyed with the people that helped me produce it. The illustrator has done some magic work, and I tried my best. Like, I could not have done any more with this first book. And if it doesn't happen, then at least I know that I can, excuse the pun, close that book and go, I tried that. Yeah. It didn't work. And then it's closure. Do you know what I mean? It's just, It's done. But if, it does work and people are into it and things like that, then who knows? I've got some pretty strange ideas going on in my head for future books. So who knows what's going to happen?
Well, not to be all sappy and sentimental, but like, did it really, really touch you like that? You go, like you said, whatever happens, that you did this for your son, and hopefully one day he realizes like the significance of it, that it was for you. I mean, of course he's too young to understand that now. He's going like, yeah, Dad, you got a book. Okay, cool. But when he does get older, he goes, wow, Dad kind of did that for me. Like, did it hit you in a way that was like, were you overcome with emotion, or has it even sunk in yet?
It definitely hasn't sunk in yet, because it's just been so busy in the lead up to the launch of the book that I haven't really had a chance to kind of take it in. And it's just been, there's been so much going on that I haven't really kind of taken it in. And also, I remember me as a kid not really appreciating my parents for what they were until I was a lot older. So I'm not expecting sort of anything to happen in the next couple of years. I think he's probably going to go through a stage where he understands that I've written it, and then there might be a stage where he's embarrassed that I've written it, and then maybe ultimately, hopefully, one day he'll say, "Do you know what? That was really cool. That you sort of wrote that for me." So.
To be honest, it was so funny. That hit me emotionally last night because I was thinking about what questions to ask and this and that, and I was going over this and that, and so I got up and I got hungry at night. That's why I'm getting fat. I got up and I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at 1:30 in the morning. That's the kind of life I live. When you're single like me and live this kind of life, it's the worst because there's no one to say you might not want to do that. I do what I want when I want, which is a good and bad thing. So I was making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I swear to God, I was making, and I was like, okay, I needed to think about what questions, and I thought, man, to be immortalized with your kid, and that's what it boils down to. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it goes on and wins accolades, that's great, but man, the fact that you did this for your son, and that's for him, and that's gonna be your connection, like his, and you're not gonna be overboard, like, I did this for you. It's gonna be like, hey, my dad did that for me, and when it does hit him, I think it's just gonna be a wonderful moment for both of you to share. Because I'm just now getting to the point in my life where I tell my dad, like, God damn it, Daddy, you did a damn good job, or get me prepared for this or this. Not for eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at 1:30 in the morning, but you did a good job of just getting me prepared for this and just being a great dad and being there for me at all times. Because at every practice or every sport I ever did, he was always there, and I never understood parents who weren't there for their kids. So that's what that connected with me last night on a weird level, man. Because I was eating that sandwich going, I mean, that hit me hard. I was like, wow, man, you're there for your kid. And that's all a kid can ask for. It's not money. It's not the monetary. It's being there for them and showing the love there that's genuine. It's not the fake love. Hey, I bought you a car. I bought you this. It's being there for them when they needed you. When, every sport, if they suck at a sport, it doesn't matter. You're there at the practices. You're there at a birthday party. If not, you can FaceTime or whatever. So the fact that you wrote a book, Jesus, man, it hit me on a weird level, man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's when I went, wow. First it was like, okay, good. He wrote a book, cool. And then it's like, damn, man, you're immortalizing your son's eyes,
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll let you know on that. Maybe we'll speak in a few years and we'll see how that one goes. I appreciate that. For me, I think it was just something that I realized how much he loves reading books, and literally every day, BT, he is reading a book back. He just wants us to read books to him. And I earlier on was getting some of the social media posts ready for some of the book launches and stuff like that. And he immediately took interest in the animals on the picture. And I was like, yeah, come on. Because I know that he'll be interested in the pictures for sure, but I didn't illustrate those pictures, so that's down to a guy called Brandon Atlas, who I owe a lot to, because he was a genius in terms of reading my mind as to what I wanted. I'm just hoping that he likes the rhymes. If he likes the pictures and not the rhymes, then I'm in real trouble.
Well, you got the rhymes. So basically, if you got rhymes in the book, could there possibly be a Steve Day rap album coming out? Maybe.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you never know. You
can go down that.
You might be the Drake of MotoGP. We never know. I mean, it could be like, oh my God, Steve Day's got a rap album.
I'll let you into a secret. I can sing, and I do like to sing, but I don't sing rap, and I'm not singing live on this show either. So don't even you can get that idea right out.
No, listen, I'm not gonna go there. But like, what do you sing? Or just what do you sing though? What do you sing? And what do you like as far as singing?
I like singing anything, to be honest with you. I love singing anything, any era, 70s, 80s, 90s, modern day. Queen is my go-to. Queen is my passion.
Okay, favorite Queen song.
my favorite Queen song is actually Love of My Life. But my favorite one to sing is Bohemian Rhapsody. I go all out.
Okay, give me just a couple bars. Come on, just a couple bars.
No,
Bro, you give me a couple bars, I'll give you a couple bars of my favorite song, which nobody knows. Nobody knows my favorite song. Listen, out of top 5 songs, my all-time favorite, there's one song that nobody knows, okay? My favorite song of all time is Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. That's my favorite song of all time. It's the greatest song ever to me. Second is Just Like Suicide by Soundgarden. And third is Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry. If you ever get a chance to hear that, no one knows that song. No one knows that song. It's a movie back in the early 70s. I was in the YMCA learning how to swim. That's how long ago this was. And I remember hearing that song going, this song is incredible. I mean, I was an old soul, but I was like, listen, going, this is a great song. And I listen to that song and no one knows it. I'll go to like karaoke bars or piano bars and I go, play Ode to Billy Joe. And they go, oh, we don't know that song. And I go, oh, and I'll walk out, make them feel bad. But yeah. That song's one of the greatest songs ever. So just for a couple bars, just sing a Bohemian Rhapsody. Just a couple. A couple.
BT, this is not happening. No way. No. Not this one. Maybe on a future chat that we do, or maybe when we see each other next, if we're in Pete's Piano Bar in Austin or something like that, we'll see where it goes. But definitely not today. I you for trying. I really do.
And you're deep. And you're deep in your cups. And we might sing together.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
I want us to do a duo. If we did a duo? What song could we do if we did a duo?
I don't know. But I'm literally into any song. So
nothing cheesy. Nothing like
you name one.
Nothing like Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. That's too cheesy. Ebony. No. Let's do a kick-ass song, you know? No, here's what we do. Jimmy Barnes and NXS. Remember that song they did? It's gonna be a good time tonight. Rock and roll music gonna play all night. Remember that? Remember that song? No, take long. Baby. Remember that? No, I don't know the actual words, but you remember that song?
Yeah. Well, hey, mate, I'm up for this. So if we know we're going to be near a karaoke bar sometime soon, and let's hope that the world opens up again properly soon, we'll do it.
We're gonna do Sweet Emotion. I'll be Stephen Perry. I'll be Steven Tyler. You be Joe Perry, and we'll do that hug, you know, and we'll sing like Sweet Emotion. Why not?
I'm definitely a few more cups in me in order. That's for sure.
I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way you said that. I'm trying to come up with songs for us. You know, maybe cut a record together. You know, and you're laughing at me. You're laughing at my dreams. You know what I mean? I mean, what if I would have did it about your children's book? You know?
I've today launched a children's book. I'm not about to launch a music career. I have time for that. But hey, we're on to something.
You got the boy band good looks and the hair. Why not go all in? Plus, you got a cool black friend, which is me. Dude, I'm telling you, bro, the future is yours, Steve. The future is yours.
we could start social media, I think. Genuinely. I'm actually not even, I know that I'm going to go to sleep tonight and I'm going to be thinking of duet songs. And I'm just going to be messaging you going, I've thought of one. Here we go.
I love it. I planted the seed, which is great. That's all I wanted to do, bro. That's all I wanted to do. And like I said, man, how great is this now that we're talking in that, like a year ago, I was like, kind of depressed. But the great thing about this pandemic is it made, you know, like I was able to start these podcasts and you were able to do that book, you know what I mean? And then we saw the changes in GP. Now, what changes did you see in GP during the pandemic? I mean, obviously, yeah, the lockdown, there's nobody in the paddock, but what changes did you see, or did you see any within the riders?
I think in general, everybody in the paddock looks more stressed. They look more nervous. They look more anxious. I think everybody's genuinely, certainly in the beginning, was genuinely concerned about what was to come. We were really relieved to get back to racing, but the schedule was so brutal last year, and it already has been the start of this year as well, that you can kind of see that everyone's a little bit tired. And everyone, the traditional season is really good because you get to go to all these cool places around the world. You get to see all your friends in the paddock and work with all these amazing people and watch the most amazing races and amazing riders. But you get a week off in between most of the time. There's the odd exception. Whereas at the moment, it's all just like bang, 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 bang. And by the end of a trip, you're all looking at each other going, I'm not even going to say bye. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Like, done. Because it's just really, really, really intense. And I think that's the one thing I've noticed more than anything else is the tiredness in everyone. Everyone is tired. Everyone's, I think, anxious as to what's going to happen next. I think I speak for everyone. We're all desperate to get back to normal, but we're all also very worried and cautious about the way that we do that. And everyone's got their own opinions on what should happen and what shouldn't happen. But for me personally, everything is cool in terms of the actual, when I step into a commentary box and we sit down to commentate, nothing really changes. It doesn't change. Yeah. Because as soon as those lights go out, we just go and we're talking about the best sport in the world. And that's cool. But it's when you get out of the box and there's protocols and traveling at the moment is just an absolute nightmare. It is so hard. We've just got endless streams of paperwork to get through and things like that. But I mean, for the riders, I guess for the younger riders, maybe it's not so much of an issue because they don't really know that much different. But for some of the old school guys, I reckon it might be hitting them a little harder.
Now, is there a worry though, like especially with like you said, the older riders? Is there a worry since you're all tired that there's a little bit of fatigue when it comes to a GP that maybe they're not going to be as sharp? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure handling those beasts at that speed, whatever, you got to be locked in. But everybody does get tired. I mean, and so maybe they're not as sharp. And is there a worry now of injuries or rider fatigue?
I don't know, BT. These guys are so fit. I mean, they are remarkable specimens when you see what they do and how quickly they recover. And even though, I mean, there must be some fatigue involved. There's got to be. But these guys are the best in the world. They are so fit. They know what they're doing. I've not had one rider complain of fatigue during the entire pandemic, whether they feel it or not. No one has mentioned it. No one has actually said, I'm feeling really, really tired at the moment. It's just been a long few weeks. And I think that's also down to results as well, because if you're riding the crest of a wave, you just want things to continue. If you're having a bad time of it, then you're probably going to feel more tired as well.
Speaking of that, did you see, or did you have any idea of the rise that the impact that Pedro Acosta was going to have in Moto3? I mean, you probably saw like, okay, this kid's got talent, but did you have any idea what he was bringing to the table?
No. Hang on a minute, BT. I'm just going to move my chair because I'm literally being burnt alive at my own house. And I know this is not good for a podcast, but I'm actually going to have to. I'm English and I am pasty and I am burning.
I like that. Look at you. There's the wife. Tell her I said hello.
There you go. She's gonna pop and scream.
Hello, love. How are you, love? How are you?
Hey.
I want to ask you, what is it like to be married to this male supermodel who actually writes children's books, and now he's got to be one of the top 5. Seriously, one of the top 5 sexiest men of all time. He's probably going to make the cover of People magazine. And when you're a family man...
What can I say?
No, listen. When you're a family man and you write children's books, and like I said, family man, children's books, and look at his hair. Look at his hair. How do you do it? I mean, aren't you worried when he goes on the road? Aren't you like, oh my God?
To Steve, because he's got so many. He can do anything. He can commentate. He can write a book. He can sing.
BT, we're going to stop here. You're going to a massive pain in the backside. Right?
And he can cook. What can I say? I'm a lucky woman. That's why I married him.
I love it. I love it, man. This is the greatest, dude. I love it. No, it's what it's all about. It's about family, man. Hey, we're like the Fast and Furious. Really, like, it's all about family. We're all about family. But back to Pedro Acosta. No, did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you think he was going to have that kind of impact coming in?
No, not at all. No, I think everybody saw that he was something special in Red Bull Rookies, but there's been a lot of riders in Red Bull Rookies who have shown that potential. And in Qatar, the opening round when he won from pit lane, I mean, that was something insane. And I was just like, what the heck is this kid?
Yes.
Like, I knew, but I didn't realize he was that good. And even now, just watching him, he doesn't look like a rookie on the bike. No. He looks so comfortable. He looks so in control of what's happening. He doesn't look flustered. He's not bothered if he doesn't win on a certain day. He knows what he's doing. He's a very, very talented young man. So I definitely did not see that coming. It's just another one of Akio's amazing machines, isn't he? That's coming through, that he finds them. He's got something really, really special, but it's really, really important, I think, not to get carried away from a fan perspective as well as from his perspective as well, because it can unravel, and I really hope it doesn't. Yeah. But you have to make the right choices, and you have to be consistent, and you have to keep your feet on the ground, because it would be really, really easy for things to spiral. It can do so quickly in sport in general.
Now, if he does falter, who are the, say, two riders who you think can take advantage of that? Because me personally, I look at Pedro. I look at Sergio Garcia. I think if it wasn't for what he's doing, I think Sergio Garcia is that he's quietly moving up, and no one really talks about him, but he's always there, and he's smooth, and he's a cool customer. But I like Sergio. Who do you think can pick up the pieces if Pedro starts to fall?
You can't argue with that, BT, at all. I really like Sergio Garcia. He's a really smart rider. He's very, very talented. I think he has got all the makings of being a top rider. He already is. He is very, very good. I think other than Sergio, there's no one at the moment that's consistent enough. It's a shame that Sasaki got himself injured when he did, because he was starting to come together, and that big injury in Catalonia was a shame for him, because he was the only other rider at that time that looked consistent. Sorry, you can hear my dog now. It's literally the whole family joining into the podcast. We just wake up for the sake of it and just get him involved. And yeah, there's a lot of other riders who I think that are supremely talented, but they just haven't been consistent. Like on some days, Dennis Foggia looks like an immovable object, and then I cannot understand his inconsistency, because he looks so talented one day, and then another, you're thinking, where is he?
That George Michael looking son of a gun. Well, I tell you, when he's on. Tell me he doesn't look like George Michael. When he's got his little 5 o'clock shadow, he's got that 5 o'clock shadow, and he's got that chest tattoo. Like, even Aaron Canette's like, wow, nice chest tattoo. Even he's got that chest tattoo, and he's right, like, he looks unstoppable. And then some days, even his own team is like, hey, oh yeah, where's Dennis? I mean, seriously. Some days you go, is he even racing? But when he's on, he's the only one, when he's on, you can tell, because he'll get that maybe 2-second gap, and they'll reel him in. Then he'll put like a second gap, and they'll reel him in, and then you go, he's gonna win, because it's like he's playing with them. But when he's on, he's on. But when he's not, he's like, when he's hot, he's hot. But when he's cold, he is ice cold. He's like a polar bear's toenails. He is ice cold. I mean, I can't figure it out with that guy. I really can't, man. It's like Dennis, man. Which Dennis is gonna show up?
he's a really, really cool character, and I think that he has got a lot of potential. So I don't understand that either. But now you've just planted that George Michael seed. I'm in trouble now. You're gonna hear Careless Whisper's dropped into the commentary in Austria for sure. It's all coming out now. I haven't even seen that before.
I do.
He really does.
I see everything. I see everything. I see things you don't see. I see the things you don't see. So you have to be professional, but I don't. I don't. But I see that though. The guy is so talented, but then some days he just disappears, man. And there's one writer I'm going to ask you about off air because I know you can't say about this on air. There's a writer I want to ask you about in Moto3 off air that I can't even word it to be nice, but we'll talk about it differently. Man, you know what? Okay, here. Okay, I'll be nice about it. Like,
you're gonna
no.
go on.
I'll phrase it nicely, but when it comes to Moto3, is Jeremy Alcoba the Dennis the Menace as far as like of that division? Is he? I mean, because it seems like he's mischievous, and then then he gets caught and he goes, "Me? What did I do?" You know what I mean? He's like, I didn't. Remember, he got the podium, and then they gave him that the penalty because he went to the green. But we thought it was that movie put on, I think, Acosta. And then they said, you got to go back. He's like, what? What? Huh? And then he goes back, and you're like, really? Come on, Jeremy, you know what you did. And then the week before, what he did with that cheeky move he did, and you go, really? So is he like, or is he just a racer? Or is he just a racer? Or you cannot answer the question. You know, you can be like, I pass. You can pass. You can always pass.
Oh, BT.
Because
opening this conversation up, I knew you were going to go to him, which kind of, I suppose, gives you an answer in itself. That I do think that he is clearly hugely talented because he is the tallest and heaviest rider in that class. And when you meet him, I'm talking like, I mean, I'm tiny, so he is really, really tall. And so he's already at a disadvantage, and he has got some real skill. It's a shame that at the moment he can't always match that up with just kind of making the right decision at the right time on circuit. We're at elite sport level, and occasionally I do think that he just lets excitement get the better of him. And he's like any other racer in that he just goes for number one. He's going all out to win. But it's true to say he's made a few mistakes. And I think that, and I hope that he can learn and work his way out of it, because I do think that ultimately there is a rider there that could move on to a Moto2 bike and do really, really well. But he's definitely, shall we just say that he's cheeky? And that's about as far as I'm going to go.
Well, of course. I mean, I don't want you to lose your job. But if you do lose your job, and you already got one, you already have one as a children's author, and I'll just step in and I'll just, announce MotoGP. How about that? And moving on to GP, what great timing in that Pedrosa is going to get the wild card in Austria. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's great to have him because I didn't think he was actually going to race again. I really didn't. I thought it would be test rider role anyway. Danny Pedrosa, in my opinion, is one of the most talented riders that has ever graced MotoGP. Probably, arguably, along with people like Randy Mamola, the best to have not won the World Championship. He was a genius and just so unfortunate on so many occasions. And I think that what he's done to help KTM develop their motorcycle is he deserves the chance to race. And I'm glad that he wants to, because I'm sure that he was given the option to. I mean, we don't know that, obviously. But I think it'll be great to see him out there. I just hope that people aren't expecting the mountains of Styria to be moved by the fact that he is coming back. He's 35 and he's been sort of testing an awful lot of new stuff for KTM. He's going to be a bit race rusty. There's no doubt that on his day he was unbelievable. But I just can't believe in my head that there's going to be some sort of fairy tale story. And I hope that people aren't clinging on to that dream too much, because I think it'll just be really cool to see him out there. Yeah. I think if he's inside the top 10, it's a great result. If he's inside the top 5, you'll know about it from the commentary box, because we'll be making some noise. But I honestly don't think that on paper at the moment, it just doesn't seem achievable.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem but in general, I think he'll be on the pace. He'll be not far away. And it'll just be really, really cool to see the number 26 back on a MotoGP bike again, for sure.
What's the biggest surprise this year, MotoGP, what's the biggest surprise? I was going to say that would give you a lead in, but who's the biggest surprise in MotoGP this year on a positive note? You go, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Let me think. I think that in a way, Johann Zarco is probably the biggest surprise to me. I thought he'd be competitive, but I didn't think he'd be, actually contending for the World Championship, and on the podium as regularly as he was. And I think he deserves an awful lot of credit because his career could have been at an end a few years ago.
Yeah,
he's probably the biggest surprise. I've got to be honest though, when I look at the World Championship leaderboard at the moment, there aren't that many huge surprises to me based on how we started the season. I think that Rins not being there it may be a bit of a surprise on a negative note, because obviously he's had his injuries and things like that, but this was a big year for him. But I do think Suzuki's will come on stronger in the second half of the year, but there's no huge leap out surprise for me at the moment. What about you?
Miguel Oliveira consistency, because I thought going into Portimao he was going to do something. I go, wow, he didn't. And that new chassis came, and he was like a brand new man. And I'm talking like, granted, it wasn't the same Marquez, but the way he was coming after Marquez in the Sachsenring, I thought, him. I think Miguel Oliveira, to me personally. And it was weird watching that race, man, because I wanted Mark to win so bad because of what he went through. And the way Miguel was coming, and he had that confidence. Once you get that confidence, man, it makes all the difference in the world. And I'm not going to lie, man, I cried like a baby that race. I literally was boo-hooing because what Mark had gone through, and I just remember, bothering Mark when he was in 125s. And I knew him, he's always spoken to me, and I always felt like I grew up with him. And I want him to win so bad. I know what he's went through. I know he's still in pain. And the time was coming down, and I go, he's hunting Mark down. And it's weird to watch Mark go from hunter to be the hunted. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they hunt him when he was healthy. Yeah, he and Dovey, whatever. But it's different. He was healthy, and it was a good. But it was like, he wasn't 100%, and Miguel was coming. I go, no. I think he brought it down to less than 0.2, and I go, it's over. And I think he got it down to 0.8. I think at one point. And somehow Mark did it. And I mean, you have no idea. I literally cried like a baby. I was boo-hooing. I have no problem saying that. I was boo-hooing in my room, crying out loud. I'm glad my roommate was gone for the weekend. I literally was crying out loud. I don't know how you guys did it, man. So I'm going to say Miguel Oliveira. That's the one surprise. And I mean, this second half of the season, man, if they keep up with the improvements, this guy could be a problem. I mean, I think he's maybe a little bit behind, but you never know in racing, man. Something can happen. I mean, God forbid. There's always, everybody has that one bad race. They don't finish for whatever reason. And it's racing, man. It's the racing business, so you never know. So I'd say Miguel Oliveira, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he was, once they got that new chassis, he's a machine, Miguel Oliveira. He's so fast. And I do think that Binder is coming as well. He's always about a year behind Miguel in terms of the progress when you look through their careers. But we're going to Austria next. And honestly, both those guys have got really good chances of podiums. And for Miguel, definitely a double win could be on the cards. I mean, and you just never know how quickly a championship could be turned around. So I would definitely not discount Miguel from proceeding to the championship. I do think that it's open in a way that there could be maybe 5 or 6 different guys that could win the championship, because I do think that Mir will come stronger if they find a little upgrade. I really do think he'll be there. He's just such a clever rider.
Yes.
But at the moment, they are going to have to find something really special to stop Fabio, because he has got something a little bit different this year.
And you know, it's funny, last year, because I looked over the tape we did last year, and we talked about that. We talked about, Fabio's got to get that win and the pressure he's going to have for being a factory rider. And he just exceeded everything we talked about it, because it was all circumstance last year. We were talking about what does he have to do with that pressure. It's going to be different. And he shot that like an Evel Knievel jump. And he just went, phew, and he's far exceeded all the expectations, man. And he's got that confidence. He's got that little swag. I mean, he's still a great dude as far as I can see. He's still a great dude, funny. He still seems kind of, like very gracious. But, man, he's got that little swag to him when he talks, and he's got that when he's on the track, and he just looks so confident on a bike.
He does, yeah. And the most important thing is that recently some of the bad days have still been seeing him on the podium. And that is the biggest difference. But he's still young. I mean, he's only 22. Oh, it's ridiculous. Yes. And he's constantly learning, constantly gaining more experience, constantly learning about himself and how to adapt. I think he's been seeing sports psychologists to try and control his emotions, because he used to have a bit of a temper and he used to wear his heart on his sleeve too often. But I think just a mixture of everything is just working out really, really well for him. And he is still such a laid back, cool guy. He's really, really pleasant to talk to. You would never think when you meet him out of the paddock that this guy's the world championship leader at the moment. You just wouldn't. He's really friendly, really approachable. So yeah, he's a really, really cool guy. And in a way, I hope that it works out for him. But as a neutral from the commentary perspective as well, I want it to be exciting. So yes. I want to see who the next challenger is,
Well, speaking of that, I mean, I would be remiss not to mention it's a situation, the Rossi situation, because we know what kind of season he's having, but there's also respect that has to be put on his name because of what he has done and what he's accomplished. And it's not like it's just one of those things. And it's hard to talk about him, but it's like, what do you think? Do you think he retires, or you think that he's like, it's one of those situations where like, it's hard to say this is it. And, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen it before. People retire, they can't get the words out like this is it. I mean, they really can't, because they still love it, but they know that moment is gone, and it's hard for them to accept it and to move on. So what do you think of that whole situation and what's going on? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, as a kid watching Rossi, obviously I idolized some of the stuff that he did. And he is an absolute legend and always will be. I do not think that whatever he does in the latter stages of his career will ever affect his legacy. But it's hard to watch. It is hard to watch at the moment. And what I think or what you think or what anyone thinks about what he should do, I think that he's such a legend of the sport that I don't even know if we have an opinion on it. Like, if he wants to continue as a rider, if he wants to continue, then, and he's able to do that, then why not? But there has to be a limit. I think everybody's secretly hoping that he can reach really deep into that magic hat and find something that's left in there. Even if it's just for one weekend, it would be really, really cool to see him pick up the 200th podium. It would just be such a cool thing to see in MotoGP. But it is getting really, really difficult to watch. And the thing is that everyone's moved on so much. He's not actually going slow. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's not like he's slowed down. It's not like, hey, oh man, you're slowing down. It's everyone else has moved the goalpost.
Yeah. I mean, you guys said it best. He's actually faster than he's ever been. It's just everybody else the game is so elevated now. And he's faster than he's ever been. And it's like, it's hard to watch. But like David Bowie said, we can be heroes for just one day. And that's what I want. And I think that will be the second cry I will have. And I lie to you not. If Rossi gets a podium, I will cry. Because the only other time I cried before the Marquez victory was when Rossi outlasted Marquez in Assen. When he first came back to Yamaha, when he, begged for forgiveness for Lorenzo, he came back, and I thought, oh, this young gun Marquez is gonna get him, and he never got him. And Rossi won, and I remember I cried on my bed that Saturday morning. I was so happy. I remember I had a girl over too. She said, "What are you doing?" You don't understand. But yeah, I felt like Rocky. You don't understand. You don't understand. But that's what it was like. I cried. Listen, we are almost done, but I want to go to some true and false questions, real quick. True and false questions for you, Mr. Day, and it's gonna be some fun stuff. So true and false, and you don't have to get into deep detail. It's just fun stuff. So true or false? Will we see Zarco do the backflip this season, the second half of the season? Will we see a Zarco backflip, which means he won a race? True or false?
Ooh, false.
Oh man, you brutal. Marquez will finish the season in the top 5. True or false? Right now he's sitting 10th. Right now he's sitting 10th.
Good one.
He's only 10 points.
True.
He's only 10 points behind Bender. Oh, you say true. Okay. I like this one. This is one you can tell I really wrote this one. Okay, no names. True or false? No names. Is there a rider that you don't care for because they don't care for you when it comes to like a presser? That you both kind of like keep it on a professional level, but you know they don't care for you, so you don't care for them. No names.
Oh my goodness.
No names. Just true or false?
False.
Okay. True or false? True or false? Vinales will be with Aprilia next year. True or false?
Oh, that's a really interesting one. I am completely split on that. I don't know. I don't even have any inside info.
Okay.
I'm gonna go true for now, just on the basis that I don't know where else he would go right now. But in a couple of weeks, I might change that.
Okay. True or false? Simon Crayfar's cooking is better than it looks on Instagram, or it tastes better than it looks?
Both. True.
Okay. Just checking on that.
It is amazing. No, it looks amazing. It looks amazing, and it tastes incredible.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. And what's the worst hotel?
I'm not kidding.
Okay. It looks good. And what's the worst hotel you stayed in so far on the MotoGP?
Oh God.
Can you tell? You can't tell.
If I'm going to get in trouble for saying, we're really lucky because we do get put up in some nice hotels, and so it would be unprofessional of me to mention any that I don't like. I'll secret message you that one.
Mike, I think I made you laugh more on this one than anything. I've embarrassed you. I made you laugh, but I met your wife. This has been a good time, buddy.
Yeah.
This has been a great time.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
No, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, man. I said it last night, and I meant that, man. It really hit me last night when I was making that peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you're going to be immortalized in your kids' eyes, and that's all that matters. I mean, it really, at the end of the day, and you're great at what you do. You really are. You're great at what you do. This is no hyperbole. You are. You're great at what you do. I love the excitement you bring. But at the end of the day, man, being a great dad, and that's all that matters. Being a great parent. My dad's a great dad, and what you're doing is incredible. So, man, that's what hits me hard. And I wish you the best on that. And I'm literally going to buy that book for my kid. I really am. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So, Steve, I enjoyed this conversation, brother. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I consider you a friend, not just a podcast guest. You're a great friend, and man, I loved it. I had a great time, buddy. Thank you so much for your time.
Agree with everything you said, and you better start thinking of some good music, because when we come to Pete's Piano Bar, it's happening.
Hey, sweet emotion, my friend. Sweet emotion.
Some others as well. We'll see what happens.
Steve Day, ladies and gentlemen, on Tales from the Gemini, one of the greatest guys ever. Get his book. It's called That Leopard is So Rude. That's his children's book. It's coming out. Go to his bio, Steve Day on Instagram. Click the link. Buy the book for your kids, even for you. Who I don't care. Just get the book. Seriously, it's a great children's book. Steve's a great guy. Steve, thank you so much. Appreciate you, buddy. And like I say around this time, you know the word. Peace.